In the grand chamber of the Galactic Council, under the sweeping arches glowing with the soft light of bioluminescent panels, the most important gathering of the galactic year was underway. Here, emissaries from myriad star systems, some floating orbs of light, others hulking figures armored in chitin, filled the vast, starlit amphitheater. At the center, a human delegate, Ambassador Lyra Kale, stood before the assembly. She was an imposing figure, known for her incisive wit and unyielding resolve. Today, she carried a message from Earth, one of caution and revelation. "Esteemed members of the Galactic Council," Lyra began, her voice resonant, magnified by the translators embedded in the Council's infrastructure. "Humanity stands before you not as a threat, but as a bearer of truth. We are a species born of resilience and forged in the fires of adversity." She paused, allowing her words to permeate the chamber. Skepticism and murmurs flowed from the audience. Many species had underestimated humans, seeing them as newcomers in the galactic arena, primitive and overly aggressive. "Our history is marred by our struggles against both ourselves and nature's wrath. But from each conflict, each disaster, we have emerged stronger, more innovative. We bring this spirit, this relentless drive to survive and thrive, to the interstellar stage," Lyra continued, her gaze sweeping over the assembly. A display behind her flickered to life, showcasing human achievements, towering cities, vast green energy fields, fleets of starships. "We extend an invitation for cooperation, but let it be known," she said, her tone turning stern. "Underestimate us at your peril. We are adept at warfare, honed through centuries of conflict. We wish for peace, but will not shy from battle if pushed." A towering figure from the Narration species, Ambassador Threx, rose, his voice a deep rumble. "These are bold claims, Ambassador Kale, but strength in your primitive world may not equate to power here. Your place in the council is still provisional." Lyra smiled thinly, a gleam in her eye. "And yet we are here, Ambassador Threx, having earned our place among stars and scholars. Fear is not our message, respect is. We urge you to understand the depth of our resolve. Dismiss it, and the galaxy may be reshaped not by our desire, but by necessity." The mining colony of Ceres, orbiting in the asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter, had long been a hub of human industry and ingenuity. When the Narration delegation's sleek, silvery vessel pierced the colony's airspace, it was a moment marked by both excitement and apprehension. This was to be the first official contact between humanity and the Narration since the heated exchange at the Galactic Council. Governor Mara Jensen stood on the landing platform, her staff flanking her as the Narration shuttle descended with a graceful ease. The air was thick with the gritty dust of the asteroid, and the low gravity gave the scene an almost dreamlike quality. As the Narration delegation disembarked, they were every bit as imposing as their reputations suggested, tall, with shimmering scales that caught the harsh light of the sun. Ambassador Threx was at the forefront, his massive frame dwarfing his entourage. His deep-set eyes fixed on Mara as he approached, a slight nod acknowledging her presence. Mara stepped forward, extending her hand in a gesture of human goodwill. Threx hesitated, then mimicked the gesture, his hand enveloping hers in a firm, if cautious, grip. "Welcome to Ceres, Ambassador Threx. We hope your journey was uneventful," Mara said, her voice steady despite the surreal nature of the encounter. "Governor Jensen, your facility is impressive for such a remote outpost," Threx replied, his translator device emitting a smooth baritone. "We are eager to understand more about your people's mining technologies and perhaps discuss potential cooperative ventures." Mara smiled, leading the delegation through the complex. "Let's walk. I believe our operations here will provide both insight and opportunities for what you seek." As they toured the facility, Mara explained the advanced mining techniques and the extensive use of autonomous drones and AI-driven processes. The Narration were particularly interested in the human use of robotics, a field where they had their own sophisticated technologies, but recognized unique human innovations. However, beneath the surface of this cordial exchange, there was an undercurrent of tension. The Narration were keen observers, noting not just the technologies, but also the security measures and the layout of human defenses, a fact not lost on Mara and her security chief, Lieutenant Colton Hayes. After the tour, as they convened in the conference room, Threx's tone shifted subtly. "Your advancements are noteworthy, Governor, but we have observed certain vulnerabilities in your defenses. It would be remiss of us not to offer our assistance in enhancing your security, in exchange for some of the mining rights." Mara leaned back, measuring her response carefully. "Ambassador, while we appreciate your concern, I assure you we are quite capable of managing our security. As for mining rights, we are open to negotiations, but they must be mutually beneficial and respect our sovereignty." Threx's eyes narrowed slightly, the first sign of the underlying steel. "Mutual benefit is essential, of course. Let us hope that our negotiations proceed without misunderstandings." 2 weeks after the Narik's initial visit, the tension between human miners and the Narik delegation reached a critical point. What began as a series of negotiations and minor agreements had spiraled into a standoff over a newly discovered vein of iridium, a rare and valuable resource critical for advanced electronics and energy systems. On a crisp, clear morning on Ceres, a confrontation erupted. A team of human miners, led by Foreman Jacob Grant, encountered a Narik technical crew inside the iridium excavation zone, an area previously agreed to be off-limits while negotiations were ongoing. "You're not supposed to be here," Jacob said, his voice firm as he blocked the entrance to the mining site. The Narik, equipped with their own excavation tools, paused, their expressions unreadable beneath their metallic visors. "We have authorization from our superiors to proceed," one Narik, a technician named Zoran, responded, his translator emitting a calm digital tone. "Our instruments indicate that this vein extends into our agreed exploration sector." Jacob shook his head, stepping closer. "Not according to the maps we were provided. You're over the line, and you know it." The standoff was briefly peaceful, albeit tense, until a miscommunication triggered a rapid escalation. One of the human miners, mistaking a move by a Narik worker who reached for a geological scanner, panicked and shoved the alien. In seconds, the site turned into a chaos of shoving, yelling, and scrambling as both sides reacted. Lieutenant Colton Hayes, who had been monitoring the tension at the mining sites, called in his security team. "All units, we have a situation at the iridium site. Possible hostility. Move in cautiously, but be prepared." By the time the security forces arrived, the skirmish had grown. The Narik, possessing superior physical strength, were initially overpowering, but the humans, more numerous and familiar with the terrain, used their agility and local knowledge to even the odds. Colton and his team intervened, using non-lethal force to disperse the crowd and separate the two groups. "Enough!" he bellowed, standing between a Narik warrior and a group of miners. "This ends now! We will sort this out diplomatically!" Breathing heavily, both sides backed down, though glares and murmurs continued to pass between them. In the aftermath, Ambassador Threx and Governor Mara Jensen met under much less friendly circumstances. The room was charged with a palpable tension, the recent violence hanging over them like a dark cloud. "Governor, this incident could have been avoided if your people had respected the boundaries," Threx stated coldly, his eyes fixed on Mara. "And your people were in an area that was still under dispute," Mara countered, her voice steady despite her rising anger. "This aggression—" "It was not aggression but a misunderstanding," Threx interrupted, his tone unyielding. "However, it has made one thing clear. We cannot trust your miners to adhere to agreements. We must reevaluate our approach to this partnership." Mara leaned forward, her gaze unwavering. "Or perhaps, Ambassador, it has shown that your people need to respect our sovereignty more fully. We are committed to peace and cooperation, but not at the expense of our rights." As they parted, it was clear that what had begun as a promising partnership was now a delicate and potentially explosive rivalry. News of the skirmish spread quickly, not just on Ceres but across human and Narik territories, stirring public opinion and galactic political waters. The incident at the iridium site was a small spark in the vastness of space, but as history often shows, even the smallest sparks can ignite the largest fires. The aftermath of the skirmish on Ceres reverberated through the corridors of power both on Earth and across the Galactic Council's dominions. Each side perceived the event through their own lens, fueling a rapid escalation in rhetoric and military posturing. Back on Earth, the United Earth government convened an emergency session. Top military and diplomatic officials gathered under the stern gaze of President Sylvia Torres to formulate a response to the growing Narik challenge. "Let's be clear," President Torres began, her voice slicing through the tense atmosphere in the war room. "This wasn't just a minor scuffle over mining rights. This is a test of our resolve and our ability to defend our interests among the stars." General Carter Mitchell, head of Earth's Space Defense Force, laid out the strategic situation. "Our intelligence suggests that the Narik are bolstering their military presence near several key wormholes. It appears they're preparing for more than just mining disputes." Around the table, the mood was grim but determined. Admiral Lena Joe, in charge of the Earth's interstellar navy, added, "We've already dispatched the Fifth Fleet to secure the major trade routes near Ceres. We're not looking to start a war, but we are certainly preparing to defend ourselves." The decision was made to send a strong, clear message to the Galactic Council and the Narik. Earth would no longer tolerate any infringements on its sovereignty or economic interests. This message would be broadcast widely, a show of transparency and strength. Meanwhile, at the Galactic Council, news of the skirmish and Earth's response caused ripples of concern and curiosity among other member species. Some saw it as a potential harbinger of broader conflict, others as a pivotal moment to realign power structures within the Council. Ambassador Lyra Kale was tasked with presenting Earth's stance to the Council. Standing once again in the Grand Chamber, she addressed the Assembly with a calm but firm tone. "Honored delegates," Lyra began, "the recent events on Ceres were unfortunate but illustrative. They showed that despite our best intentions, there are still those who would test our patience and our resolve. Let it be known that humanity will defend its interests robustly and, I must stress, responsibly." She continued, "We seek no escalation, but we also will not shy away from securing our people and our assets. We call upon the Council to uphold its principles of fairness and sovereignty for all member species." The Assembly was divided. Some members, like the Thalosians, who had themselves experienced territorial disputes, sympathized with Earth's position. Others, influenced by the Narik's economic sway, were more cautious, advocating for mediation and restraint. Back on Ceres, as Earth's fleets maneuvered into defensive positions, the colony itself became a fortified hub. Governor Mara Jensen addressed her people, ensuring them that Earth was committed to their protection and that diplomacy would continue in parallel with military readiness. "Make no mistake," Mara declared in a broadcast to the colony. "We stand at a crossroads. Our actions now will define humanity's role in this galaxy. We will show that we are fair partners but formidable defenders of our rights." As tensions escalated between humanity and the Narik, the human delegation at the Galactic Council, led by Ambassador Lyra Kale, began a series of discreet meetings with representatives from other civilizations. The objective was clear: to form a strategic coalition, the Alliance of Stars, which would serve as a counterbalance to the increasing assertiveness of the Narik and their allies. The first to join was the Thalosians, a species known for their diplomatic acumen and historical grievances with the Narik over border encroachments. They were followed by the Vectans, a warrior race whose territories bordered the Narik dominion and who had long sought a formidable ally to deter potential aggressions. In a secure conference room aboard the human flagship, the Defender, discussions unfolded with representatives from 5 different species. Lyra outlined the vision for the Alliance of Stars. "This alliance will not only serve as a military deterrent, but also foster economic cooperation and technological exchange among our civilizations," she explained. Each species brought their unique strengths to the table. The Thalosians offered their diplomatic networks and intelligence capabilities. The Vectans, renowned for their combat prowess, pledged elite squadrons of their starfighters. The Ixans, a species with advanced cloaking technology, agreed to share their stealth techniques, providing a significant tactical advantage. As the alliance took shape, Strategic plans were laid out. Joint military exercises were scheduled, and shared defense protocols were established. An economic pact was also formed, ensuring mutual prosperity through trade and shared resources, bolstering the economies of all member states and reducing dependency on Narrik-controlled trade routes. Meanwhile, news of this growing alliance began to leak, stirring unease within the Narrik leadership. They had underestimated the diplomatic and strategic capabilities of the humans, who were now successfully forging a multi-species coalition. Ambassador Threx, receiving reports of these developments, convened an emergency meeting with his closest advisors. "It seems we have pushed the humans into a corner, and they have responded not with submission, but with consolidation," he acknowledged grimly. "We must reassess our approach. The balance of power is shifting and not in our favor." Back on Earth, President Sylvia Torres addressed the global populace, her speech broadcast across all media platforms. "Today marks a new chapter in human history. As part of the Alliance of Stars, we stand not alone but shoulder to shoulder with other civilizations who share our values and our aspirations. This alliance is our commitment to a future where no one species dictates the fate of others." The planet Draxon V, strategically positioned near a critical junction of interstellar trade routes, became the focal point of escalating tensions. It was a lush, resource-rich world previously under Narrik control, but claimed by the Alliance of Stars as a neutral zone in the burgeoning conflict. The move was a direct challenge to the Narrik's regional dominance and a test of the Alliance's resolve. The Narrik, unwilling to concede such a vital asset, launched a full-scale siege, deploying their elite forces in a swift operation designed to retake the planet. Their armada, a formidable fleet of battleships and assault carriers, descended upon Draxon V, initiating a blockade that cut off all incoming and outgoing traffic. On the surface, the Alliance's response was coordinated from a newly established military base under the command of General Carter Mitchell. The base, hurriedly fortified with anti-orbital cannons and shield generators, braced for the Narrik assault. "The Narrik are making a statement by targeting Draxon V," General Mitchell briefed his officers. "They're testing our commitment to this alliance. Our response will set the tone for the entire conflict. We hold here, no matter what." As the Narrik forces landed, battles erupted across the verdant landscapes of Draxon V. The Alliance troops, comprising human and Vectan warriors, fought fiercely. The Vectans, known for their ferocity in combat, clashed with the Narrik in brutal ground engagements, while human forces provided strategic air support, leveraging their advanced drone technologies. The battle for Draxon V was not only fought on the ground and in the skies, but also in the arena of galactic opinion. Ambassador Lyra Kale worked tirelessly at the Galactic Council to rally support for the Alliance's position, framing the siege as a blatant act of aggression against a peaceful resolution of territorial disputes. As the siege dragged on, the Narrik found themselves bogged down in a quagmire. The Alliance's defensive preparations proved more robust than anticipated, and the local resistance, fueled by support from the local population who feared Narrik rule, stiffened the defense. Meanwhile, a covert operation led by Lieutenant Colton Hayes aimed to break the blockade from within. A small team of elite operatives, including human and Ixan soldiers, infiltrated the main Narrik command ship using stealth technology. Their mission was to disable the ship's command center, creating chaos in the Narrik fleet and giving the Alliance forces a crucial advantage. The operation was perilous. As they maneuvered through the bowels of the enemy ship, the team encountered Narrik security forces. A silent, deadly exchange ensued, with the team narrowly achieving their objective, setting explosive charges and retreating just before detonation. The explosion rocked the Narrik command ship, causing confusion and disarray among the fleet. Seizing the moment, General Mitchell ordered a counteroffensive. The Alliance forces surged forward, pushing the Narrik back with renewed vigor. As the Narrik fleet reeled from the internal sabotage, they were forced to retreat, abandoning their positions on Draxon V. The siege was broken, and the Alliance had held firm. Following their unexpected victory at Draxon V, the Alliance of Stars gained significant momentum and confidence. The triumph had not only bolstered their strategic position, but also showcased the effectiveness of their joint military capabilities to the galaxy at large. This victory, however, also intensified the Nariq's resolve to counter the growing influence of the Alliance. In response to the increasing threat, the Nariq invested heavily in advancing their war technology. Unbeknownst to them, humanity had been developing a revolutionary new weapon that could potentially change the dynamics of space warfare, the phase disruptor. This device was capable of temporarily disabling the energy shields of spacecraft, leaving them vulnerable to conventional attacks. Back on Earth, President Sylvia Torres convened with her top military advisors and the key scientific team responsible for the phase disruptor. The meeting took place in a secure underground facility deep within the command center of Earth's Space Defense Force. "Is the phase disruptor ready for deployment?" President Torres asked, addressing Dr. Helen Ramirez, the project's lead scientist. "Yes, Madam President. We've successfully tested it under various conditions. However, deploying it in a real combat scenario is always different. There's no guarantee of a perfect outcome," Dr. Ramirez replied cautiously. Understanding the risks, President Torres nodded. "We need every advantage we can muster. Prepare the device for field use. General Mitchell, coordinate with Dr. Ramirez to plan its deployment in our next major engagement." Meanwhile, on the Nariq front, Ambassador Threx received reports of increased alliance activity along several contested regions. Fearing a new offensive, he ordered the acceleration of their own secret weapon project, aimed at countering the advanced technologies of the Alliance. The stage was set for a pivotal confrontation near the Galanor system, a critical waypoint that provided access to multiple trade routes and was essential for controlling regional power dynamics. The Alliance, spearheaded by the human fleet, moved into position, armed with the new phase disruptor technology. As the Nariq armada approached, the tension in the human flagship, the Defender, was palpable. Admiral Lena Jo was in command, her face set in determination as she issued orders. "Initiate the phase disruptor now," she commanded, as the Nariq ships came into range. The device was activated, sending a pulse of disruptive energy across space. The Nariq shields flickered and failed, their ships suddenly exposed. The Alliance fleet took immediate advantage, launching a barrage of missiles and laser fire that inflicted significant damage on the Nariq vessels. Caught off guard, the Nariq fleet scrambled to retreat and regroup, their confidence shaken by the sudden vulnerability. The effectiveness of the phase disruptor exceeded expectations, giving the Alliance a crucial window to press their advantage and secure the Galanor system. "This changes everything," Admiral Jo remarked, watching as the retreating Nariq ships vanished into hyperspace. "Let's make sure we use this advantage to push for peace. We need to end this war before they find a way to counter our new weapon." In the aftermath of the battle, the Galactic Council convened an emergency session. The success of the phase disruptor was now common knowledge, and many neutral systems began to view the Alliance not just as a viable force, but as a potential shield against aggression. As the Galactic War escalated, both sides realized the conflict would not be won solely by conventional means. Victory would require innovation and unexpected tactics. On Earth, human scientists and engineers, under the supervision of Dr. Helen Ramirez, intensified their efforts on a new, even more secretive project, the Quantum Infiltrator. This weapon was designed to subtly infiltrate and disrupt Nariq technology at a fundamental level, creating systemic failures without direct combat. In a secure laboratory hidden within the sprawling complex of NASA's revitalized research division, Dr. Ramirez briefed a special task force on the operational capabilities of the Quantum Infiltrator. "This device exploits vulnerabilities in the Nariq's quantum computing systems," she explained. "Once deployed, it will initiate a cascade of malfunctions, crippling their fleet's operational capabilities. Meanwhile, the Nariq, aware of their technological disadvantage, doubled down on counterintelligence efforts, aiming to intercept and decode transmissions regarding the new human technologies. Ambassador Threx, coordinating closely with his military advisors, launched a series of spy missions targeting Alliance communication channels. Amid these preparations, the Alliance planned a covert mission to deploy the Quantum Infiltrator deep within enemy territory. The operation would be led by Lieutenant Colton Hayes, who had distinguished himself in earlier missions. His team included experts in stealth tactics, electronic warfare, and combat engineers. "Your objective is clear," General Carter Mitchell briefed them aboard the stealth ship Shadow Lurker. "Infiltrate the Narik's primary command station in the Orion sector. Deploy the quantum infiltrator within their central computing hub. Get in, set it up, and get out before they even know you were there." The mission commenced under the cover of a diversionary attack at the borders of Narik space, drawing their forces away from the Orion sector. The Shadow Lurker approached the Narik station undetected, slipping past their sensors cloaked in an envelope of dark energy. Inside the enemy station, Hayes and his team moved with precision, avoiding patrols and navigating the maze of corridors with the help of their Ixan ally, Scylla, who could sense electronic emissions and security measures. Reaching the central hub, they encountered minimal resistance thanks to the confusion sown by the quantum infiltrator's preliminary effects. With the device in place and activated, they began their exfiltration. However, their exit was not as smooth. A Narik patrol, alerted by unusual system errors, intercepted them, leading to a tense standoff. Quick thinking and a smoke grenade allowed them to escape into the docking bay, where they fought their way back to the Shadow Lurker. As they made their final sprint to the ship, an explosion rocked the station, not part of the original plan, but a result of the quantum infiltrator overloading a critical power node. With chaos behind them, the team launched into space, narrowly avoiding the clutches of the Narik reinforcements. Back at the Alliance command, news of the mission's success brought a mix of relief and celebration. The quantum infiltrator worked even better than anticipated, causing widespread disarray within the Narik fleet. "This victory is crucial, but it's not the end," General Mitchell cautioned his team. "Expect the Narik to retaliate. We must be vigilant and ready to adapt. Our actions today have shifted the war in our favor, but the path to peace remains fraught with uncertainty." Following the deployment of the quantum infiltrator and its devastating impact on Narik systems, the conflict entered a phase of tactical espionage and covert operations. The Narik, desperate to regain their footing after the systemic disruptions, intensified their efforts to infiltrate Alliance systems and learn more about human technology and strategic plans. In response to these developments, Lieutenant Colton Hayes and his team were once again called upon, this time to undertake a crucial counter-espionage mission. Their task was to infiltrate a high-security Narik outpost on the moon of Zalara, which was suspected of serving as the hub for the Narik's intelligence operations against the Alliance. The outpost, a fortress of steel and energy shields nestled in the moon's jagged, crater-filled landscape, was heavily guarded. It was equipped with state-of-the-art surveillance systems and patrolled by elite Narik security forces. The challenge was daunting, but the stakes were too high to ignore. Colton and his diverse team, including experts in hacking, stealth, and combat, began their mission under the cover of a meteor shower, a natural phenomenon common in the Zalara region that they used to mask their approach. Using a specially modified shuttle with enhanced stealth capabilities, they landed undetected on the moon's surface. "The key to this mission is silence and speed," Colton briefed his team as they approached the outpost. "Our main target is the central data hub. We get in, extract as much intelligence as we can, and get out before they even realize what's happening." Inside the outpost, the team split up. Colton and Scylla, the Ixan sensor expert, headed for the central hub, while the others created diversions and gathered additional intel. Navigating the dimly lit corridors, Colton and Scylla reached the central data hub, a vast room filled with data stacks and humming servers. Scylla, using her innate abilities, disabled the electronic locks without triggering any alarms, allowing them access to the core systems. As they downloaded critical data, the rest of the team executed their part of the plan flawlessly, drawing attention away from the central hub. However, just as they were about to complete the data transfer, an unexpected security protocol kicked in, sealing the room and alerting the outpost's command center. "We've got a problem," Colton whispered into his communicator. "The system's locked us in. We need an exit now." On the outside, their combat specialist, Diaz, along with two other team members, raced to their location. Using a combination of explosive charges and brute force, they breached the security doors, rescuing Colton and Scylla just as Narik reinforcements converged on the scene. With the data secured and their presence now known, the team fought their way back to their shuttle, engaging in a fierce firefight with Narik forces. Despite the intense opposition, the team's coordination and the cover provided by the ongoing meteor shower allowed them to reach their shuttle and escape into space. Back at Alliance headquarters, the data retrieved revealed critical insights into Narik's strategic vulnerabilities and upcoming offensive plans. This intelligence proved invaluable, giving the Alliance a significant advantage in the ongoing conflict. "The data you've brought back could change the course of this war," General Mitchell commended the team. "Thanks to your courage and quick thinking, we've not only thwarted their plans but gained the upper hand. Prepare for the next phase. We're going to use this information to strike at the heart of their operations." With critical intelligence in hand from the daring infiltration mission, the Alliance of Stars strategized their next move, a direct strike at the heart of Narik territory. The target was the Narik's primary military headquarters, located on their home planet of Narik Prime. This was not just a military operation, it was a bold statement, signaling the Alliance's shift from defensive to offensive strategy. General Carter Mitchell, now at the forefront of military operations, detailed the plan to his assembled commanders. "The intelligence provided by Lieutenant Hayes's team has given us a window. We strike hard and fast, targeting their central command. This will disrupt their operational capabilities and give us a crucial edge." The plan involved a multi-pronged attack. The main force, led by Admiral Lena Joe, would engage the Narik fleet orbiting Narik Prime, drawing them away from the planet. Meanwhile, a specialized strike team would infiltrate the planet's surface, targeting the military headquarters to sabotage their command systems. As the fleet moved into position, tension aboard the flagship, the Defender, was palpable. Admiral Joe, a veteran of many battles, kept her focus on the task ahead. "This is the moment we've prepared for," she addressed her crew. "Our actions today will determine the future of this conflict. Stay sharp, stay focused. History is on our side." The space around Narik Prime erupted into chaos as the Alliance fleet engaged the Narik defenders. Lasers crisscrossed the starry sky, and explosions dotted the void as ship after ship exchanged deadly volleys. Admiral Joe expertly maneuvered the Defender, leading from the front, her ship's guns blazing. On Narik Prime's surface, Colton Hayes and his team, equipped with the latest stealth technology, descended into the thick of the enemy territory. The planet was a fortress, bristling with defenses, but the team used the chaos in orbit as cover to bypass the main security checkpoints. Reaching the military headquarters, a sprawling complex built into a rugged mountain range, they used the hacked codes from their previous mission to infiltrate the command center. Inside, they planted explosive charges and uploaded a virus designed to cripple the Narik communication networks. "Plant the last charge here and let's move out," Colton directed his team. The operation was precise, and within minutes, they were on their way out. But as they retreated, alarms blared, signaling that their presence was detected. A fierce battle ensued as Narik forces swarmed the area. The team fought their way through, using every bit of their training to survive. Explosions rocked the headquarters as their planted charges detonated, achieving the desired effect. Amidst the confusion, they made a narrow escape, extraction ships swooping in under heavy fire to carry them to safety. Back in space, as the Narik fleet scrambled to deal with the devastation on their home planet, Admiral Joe seized the opportunity to push the advantage, routing the disoriented enemy ships. The battle turned decisively in the Alliance's favor. In the aftermath, the Narik military was left reeling from the assault. Their command structure was in disarray, and their ability to coordinate a counter-offensive was severely hampered. The strike had not just been a military success, it had struck a psychological blow, shaking the confidence of the Narik leadership. At the Galactic Council, news of the bold assault stirred a frenzy. Some members condemned the attack as too aggressive, fearing it might provoke a full-scale war. Others, seeing the weakening of the Narrik, reconsidered their positions and alliances, pondering the new power dynamics the attack had introduced. The impact of the Alliance's strike on Narrik Prime reverberated throughout the galaxy, causing political and military shockwaves. Inside Narrik territory, the damage to their command structures ignited internal strife and dissent. Among the Narrik, a faction that had long opposed their aggressive expansionist policies saw an opportunity to push for change. Led by Commander Varen, a respected figure in the Narrik military who had grown increasingly critical of the war, the dissidents began to organize. They communicated covertly, rallying support for a movement to overthrow the current leadership and seek peace with the Alliance. Enough blood has been spilled, Varen addressed a secret assembly of his followers in the underbelly of Narrik Prime's capital city. We must seize control and end this madness before it destroys us. Back at the Alliance headquarters, intelligence reports about the growing unrest among the Narrik reached General Carter Mitchell. Sensing an opportunity, he proposed a bold plan to support the Narrik dissidents covertly, aiming to facilitate a change in leadership that could lead to peace negotiations. "We do not interfere openly," General Mitchell briefed President Sylvia Torres and the Alliance Council. "But a discreet push could tilt the balance in favor of those who favor peace. It's a calculated risk, but one that could end this conflict with fewer lives lost." With approval granted, the Alliance began funneling support to Varen's faction, providing them with intelligence, supplies, and communication tools. This aid was critical in helping the dissidents organize a widespread uprising against the ruling war hawks. The day of the uprising, dubbed the Turning Point by its planners, saw coordinated strikes across multiple Narrik cities. Varen and his forces moved quickly, capturing key military installations and broadcasting their message across the planet. "To our brothers and sisters across the galaxy," Varen declared in a broadcast picked up by media outlets throughout Narrik territory and beyond. "We are reclaiming our destiny from those who would lead us to ruin. We seek peace, reconciliation, and a new path forward with all civilizations." The reaction among the Narrik population was mixed, but the desire for an end to the war resonated with many, especially those who had suffered the most. The ruling council, caught off guard and now facing opposition both externally and internally, struggled to maintain control. Meanwhile, the Galactic Council, observing the developments, convened an emergency session. The Alliance, represented by Ambassador Lyra Kale, argued for recognition of Varen's provisional government and proposed an immediate ceasefire. "As members of this esteemed council, we must foster stability and support transitions that promise peace," Ambassador Kale urged. Recognizing Commander Varen's government as the legitimate authority on Narrik Prime could pave the way for lasting peace in our galaxy. The council voted, and with a majority in favor, passed a resolution supporting the ceasefire and agreeing to mediate future peace talks. The decision was a testament to the shifting dynamics within the Galactic Council, influenced by the Alliance's strategic successes and the Narrik dissidents' plea for peace. The ceasefire brought a fragile peace to the galaxy, but beneath the surface, tensions simmered as factions within the Narrik resisted the new order. The Narrik hardliners, unwilling to accept the authority of Commander Varen's provisional government, regrouped and planned a decisive strike to reclaim power and continue their expansionist agenda. Recognizing the threat to the nascent peace process, the Alliance of Stars prepared for a potential large-scale conflict. General Carter Mitchell and Admiral Lena Joe coordinated a unified defense strategy, positioning the Alliance fleets in key sectors to protect vulnerable worlds and maintain the blockade around critical Narrik systems. The Narrik hardliners, led by General Crix, a ruthless military strategist, launched their offensive with a surprise attack on the Alliance-controlled system of Pelion. The system was strategic due to its rich resources and proximity to several wormhole gates. The battle that ensued would be remembered as one of the greatest in galactic history. As the Narrik fleet emerged from hyperspace, Alliance sensors picked up the signatures immediately. Admiral Joe, aboard the flagship Defender, ordered her fleet to engage. "All ships, battle stations, protect Pelion at all costs," she commanded, her voice resolute over the comm. The sky above Pelion filled with the light of laser blasts and the debris of shattered ships. The Narik brought to bear their entire might, deploying new warship classes that had been hidden away in secret shipyards. The Alliance, however, was prepared. Utilizing the quantum infiltrator technology and the tactical data from previous engagements, they countered the Narik's advances skillfully. On the surface of Pelion, Alliance ground forces, including human and Vectan troops, fortified their positions. They repelled waves of Narik soldiers using advanced defensive technologies and guerrilla tactics learned through the harsh lessons of previous battles. The turning point came when Lieutenant Colton Hayes, leading a special operations group, infiltrated the Narik flagship and captured General Crix. The bold move, executed under intense fire, demoralized the Narik forces and threw their chain of command into chaos. With their leader captured and their fleet in disarray, the Narik forces began to retreat. Admiral Joe seized the moment, ordering a full advance. "Push them back! Secure the system and cut off their escape routes," she directed. The battle raged for hours, but the disciplined might of the Alliance gradually turned the tide. As the last Narik warships warped out, leaving behind a field of wreckage, the Alliance celebrated a hard-fought victory. In the aftermath, General Crix was brought before the Galactic Council, where he faced charges of war crimes and violations of the ceasefire. His capture marked the effective end of the Narik hardliners' resistance. Commander Varen, now officially recognized as the leader of the Narik, addressed the Galactic Council. "Today, we turn a new page. We, the Narik, thank the Alliance for their bravery and seek to join them in lasting peace. Let this battle be the last conflict our peoples ever face." In the wake of the Great Battle of Pelion, the Galactic Council and the newly established Narik government under Commander Varen proposed a peace summit. The goal was to solidify the ceasefire and negotiate terms for a long-term peace treaty. Humanity, having played a pivotal role in turning the tide of the war, was at the forefront of these negotiations. President Sylvia Torres took the lead for the Alliance, emphasizing the need for a robust framework that would ensure lasting peace and prevent future conflicts. The summit was held on the neutral planet of Midar, chosen for its symbolic location at the crossroads of several major galactic trade routes and its history as a place of reconciliation. As delegations from various galactic powers gathered, the atmosphere was a mix of cautious optimism and underlying tension. The scars of war were fresh, and many delegates carried the memories of lost comrades and devastated worlds. The negotiations were complex, involving discussions on disarmament, war reparations, territorial disputes, and the establishment of a new galactic security framework. The Narik, represented by Commander Varen, expressed a strong desire to reintegrate into the galactic community and contribute to its stability. "The Narik recognize our past aggressions and are committed to a path of peace," Varen stated in his opening remarks. "We seek forgiveness and offer assurance of our dedication to the principles of this council." President Torres responded with a call for unity. "This summit is not just about ending a war, it's about building a future together. We have a unique opportunity to create a galaxy where all species can thrive. Let us be bold in our commitments and vigilant in our execution." During the summit, Lieutenant Colton Hayes and his team were honored for their bravery and critical role in the conflict's resolution. Their actions were highlighted as examples of the heroism and sacrifice that had brought the various civilizations to this point of reconciliation. One of the key sessions involved drafting the Midar Accords, which outlined the responsibilities of each signatory in maintaining peace, including the creation of a joint galactic peacekeeping force. The Accords also established a new council to oversee the development of outlying star systems, ensuring that no single power could dominate others, as the Narik had once attempted. Negotiations stretched over several days, with each session extending late into the night. Disagreements arose, particularly over the demilitarization zones and the governance of strategic resources, but the common desire for peace drove the delegates to find compromise. Finally, with the major issues resolved, the summit concluded with a grand ceremony where the Midar Accords were signed. The event was broadcast across the galaxy, marking it as a historic moment of unity and hope. The signing of the Midar Accords isn't the end of our journey, it's just the beginning, President Torres said during the ceremony. Together, we have laid the groundwork for peace, but it will be our daily actions that build it into reality. Following the successful conclusion of the Peace Summit on Midar and the signing of the Midar Accords, the Galactic Council initiated the formation of a new Galactic Assembly. This body was designed to reflect a more balanced representation of the galaxy's diverse civilizations, including those previously underrepresented or directly impacted by the war. The creation of this assembly was a critical step toward implementing the Accords and ensuring ongoing peace and cooperation. Humanity played a significant role in shaping the new assembly, advocating for a structure that emphasized transparency, equality, and mutual accountability. Ambassador Lyra Kale, having been instrumental during the negotiations, was appointed as one of the key facilitators for the initial sessions of the assembly. The inaugural session of the Galactic Assembly took place on Unity Station, a space station orbiting the neutral planet Viridia, chosen for its central location relative to the major star systems. Representatives from hundreds of species, including humans, Narik, Vectons, Thalosians, and many others, gathered to discuss the future governance of the galaxy. The first order of business was to establish a fair system for trade and economic development, which had been severely disrupted by the war. The Assembly agreed to set up a Galactic Trade Commission, tasked with overseeing trade agreements and ensuring that no single entity could monopolize critical resources as had happened in the past. Another major discussion revolved around the creation of a joint peacekeeping force. This force would operate independently of any single species control, with oversight from the Assembly. Its primary mission would be to maintain security in key areas, assist in disaster relief, and ensure that the terms of the Midar Accords were respected by all parties. Throughout these discussions, the delegates were mindful of the fragile peace that now held. Ambassador Kale emphasized the importance of patience and perseverance. Building peace is like constructing a great cathedral, she remarked during one session. It requires careful planning, unwavering dedication, and time. Each of us contributes a stone to this edifice of peace. The Assembly also tackled the sensitive issue of war crimes committed during the conflict. It established a Galactic Justice Tribunal, which would investigate and prosecute serious violations of the Midar Accords. This was a contentious topic, especially for species like the Narik, who had members both as perpetrators and victims. Commander Varen, now a diplomat, spoke on behalf of the Narik. "We are committed to truth and reconciliation. It is only through facing our past that we can hope to build a better future," he stated, reflecting the new values of his people. As the Assembly concluded its first session, the mood was cautiously optimistic. Many challenges lay ahead, but the framework for a cooperative and peaceful galaxy was now stronger than ever. Back on Earth, news of the Assembly's progress was met with widespread approval. President Sylvia Torres addressed the world, highlighting the significance of humanity's new role on the galactic stage. "We have moved from the periphery to the heart of galactic affairs. Let us continue to lead with the values that brought us here: courage, innovation, and a steadfast commitment to peace." With the formation of the Galactic Assembly and the implementation of the Midar Accords, a new era of peace and cooperation seemed to dawn across the galaxy. The early months following the Assembly's inaugural session were a period of intense activity and optimism, marked by efforts to rebuild war-torn regions and restore interstellar trade routes disrupted by years of conflict. In the spirit of the new galactic partnership, the Alliance of Stars, now an influential bloc within the Galactic Assembly, launched several major initiatives. One of the most ambitious was the Galactic Rebuilding Program, GRP, aimed at assisting planets and systems most affected by the war. The program not only focused on physical reconstruction, but also on social rehabilitation and economic revitalization. Humanity, leveraging its expertise in logistics and large-scale construction, played a pivotal role in the GRP. Human engineering corps, alongside robotic workforces and alien technology experts, were deployed across dozens of worlds. From the rubble-strewn moons of the Narek system to the shattered habitats in the Vectan sectors, they worked to rebuild homes, infrastructures, and lives. Simultaneously, the newly established Galactic Trade Commission facilitated a resurgence in commerce. Trade fairs and markets, once a rarity during the wartime years, became common, celebrating the diverse products and cultures of the galaxy. These events were not just commercial, but also cultural, providing a platform for different species to share their heritage and form new, peaceful relationships. Amid these promising developments, the Joint Peacekeeping Force, known as the Galactic Peace Corps, GPC, began its operations. Comprised of military and civilian personnel from various member species, the GPC was tasked with maintaining security in volatile regions and ensuring that the terms of the Midar Accords were upheld. Their presence was a reassurance to many, a symbol of the galaxy's united front against any return to chaos. President Sylvia Torres and Commander Varen jointly visited several reconstruction sites, showcasing the cooperative spirit between humans and Narek. During a speech on the rebuilding planet of Serenth 4, President Torres said, "Look around you. Once a battlefield, now a place of collaboration and hope. This is the power of unity. This is our future." However, the path to a stable galaxy was not without challenges. Isolated incidents of unrest and attempts by radical factions to disrupt the peace were reminders of the fragility of the current harmony. Each incident tested the resilience of the new institutions and the commitment of all to the collective peace. The Galactic Justice Tribunal, for instance, dealt with these challenges by enforcing the law impartially and transparently, sometimes drawing criticism from those who felt it was too harsh or too lenient. Yet, it gradually helped establish a rule of law that was respected across species and systems. As the first anniversary of the Midar Accords approached, a grand celebration was planned on Unity Station. Representatives from across the galaxy gathered to commemorate what many hoped would be the first year of many in a lasting peace. The event was filled with displays of cultural heritage, speeches by key figures, and a moment of silence for those lost in the war. In her address to the Assembly, Ambassador Lyra Kale reflected on the journey. "We have come far, through darkness and into light, but the journey continues. Let us walk it together as friends, as allies, as a galaxy united."